Welcome to Flip Math Lesson 13 for the 6th grade. Today we're going to continue looking at word problems, and we're going to look at a few more formulas that we can use to help us find and solve word problems much easier. And so we've looked at two different ideas already. The idea of combining with our S plus M equals T, and we've also looked at the idea of separating, which was our B minus A equals R. And so we have those two patterns already, those two formulas, and today we're going to take on two new ones. Both are subtraction type formulas, but our first one is going to be about comparing, and we're going to take on the formula of greater minus lesser equals a difference, or G minus L equals D. And let's take a look at one of those problems just so we understand how that works. The problem says there were 545 girls and 434 boys in this school. How many fewer boys than girls were there in the school? And so as we're looking at our formula, we need a greater amount, a lesser amount, or we need a difference. Now the question says how many fewer boys than girls, and keywords like fewer or how many more boys, those would be keywords to let us know that we want to do a greater minus lesser equals the difference type formula. And it's a problem about comparing. And so those are our keywords. Now since it's saying fewer, we know that it's looking for the difference. So we're going to go ahead and plug in our numbers then. And so our greater amount of 545 would have to go to our girls, while our lesser amount of 434 would have to go to our boys, which equals D. And that finishes step one of our problem solving process and gives us the equation. Remember, as we write equations, we need to follow the formula, and so write it exactly as we see it there following these formulas. Now, next step, of course, would be to solve, and since we don't have to really rearrange anything here, I'm going to set it up in the vertical just because it's easier to see our place values and do our subtraction. 5 minus 4 equals 1, 4 minus 3 equals 1, 5 minus 4 equals 1. All right, and so this equals D. Then of course we can go back and check our work, and to check our work we would just need to reverse this and take this and add it to this and see if it equals 500. So 1 plus 4 equals 5, 1 plus 3 equals 4, 1 plus 4 equals 5. And so we have that. Adding backwards like that will help us understand. And of course that works, so we know that our D is definitely the difference, or how many fewer boys. And so we would say there are 111 fewer boys, as that's what the question was asking. And so that's our example of comparing. The other type of problem that we're looking at in this lesson is elapsed time problems, where we're going to compare two dates and try and understand the difference between them. And so our formula this time is later minus earlier equals a difference. And we have the LED formula, L minus E equals a difference. And so our problem today is how many years were there from the year that the Pilgrims settled in 1620 and the California Gold Rush in 1849. So as we look at this problem, we need to find our later date, and that of course is going to be our 1849. Then we're going to subtract that from our earlier date, which is 1620. And of course that's going to get us our difference, or tell us how many years there were between these two dates. And once again, I'm going to switch this to the vertical so we can subtract this much faster. And we can, 9 minus 0 gives us that, 4 minus 2 gives us 2, 8 minus 6 gives us 2, and 1 minus 1 gives us 0. And so we have 229 years is what our difference is. And of course we can check our work once again by just reversing this from a subtraction problem into a multiplication problem, going backwards. So 9 plus 0 gives us 9, 2 plus 2 gives us 4, and 2 plus 6 gives us 8, and then of course we have this one gives us 1849. And so we've worked this through and we have our new formula. And so looking at that, we have these two different types of problems. All right, understanding the later minus earlier equals the difference, and of course the greater minus the lesser equals the difference. So two more subtraction formulas to remember, but they're definitely going to help us or help you solve word problems. I'm going to leave you with this sample word problem right here, and we'll discuss it more in class tomorrow. That is the end of flipped lesson 13.